I hear your voice. It's like an angel sighing. I have no choice. I hear your voice. It feels like flying. As you can tell, I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, the best Marvel movie in years and years. I'd say the best Marvel team up of all time. We got to see Deadpool and Wolverine as they truly should be. And it's finally given justice to Wolverine. To see him in the yellow and blue costume is awesome. If you've not seen Deadpool and Wolverine, let's keep it going. It's over $1 billion. Go see it. It's the best movie of the year. And it is fun. It is funny. It is extremely violent. But it's appropriate. And it's good. And it's got a lot of heart. By the way, I had a battery go bad in my Golf R, the one I'm in right now. I'm going to roll up the windows. You might not hear me. I'm going to go almost up all the way here. So, I looked. Okay, I'm going to close them. I'm sorry. I'll put my AC on. It's against my religion, but I'll do it. I'll do it. It's against what I normally do. I got AC on now. I feel like a fool. So I like usually hearing the car and the engine and the exhaust and having fun like that. I don't like being all closed up and cloistered in here. I don't even like recirculated air. I don't want to breathe my own air. What happened? Shit. It's in the wrong gear. All right, I'm in 6 now. All right. So everything's good with the world, but here's what happens. If you have a 2019 Mark 7.5 Golf R, and I'm sure many others, you can't just put your battery in. I put my battery in like normal, and I got OBD11, which I like to call it that because I always knew it as OBD11. They could have put a 2 and they never did, so I always thought it was OBD11. But it's actually OBD2 or whatever. It's OBD11. The Pro version, which you have to pay like $180 more for or whatever, it was worth it because it still works over the years. You can buy little credits to upgrade your apps and stuff. That's how I got the Joker lights and different things, like the pulsing start and stop button and all that. So here's what happened. I get the battery. I went with Interstate. I really like Interstate batteries. I think back in the day they were the best. I've heard of people saying the quality control isn't what it used to be, but I got an Interstate battery. It's called Megatron. I said, I like that, Megatron. So I got the Megatron battery. It has superior cranking amps. It's AGM, amalgamated glass and metal. So the one that you take out, it'll most likely say Varta. And it's called EFB, which means extra flood battery. So this is all that I've gathered by going through this. So the EFB battery comes stock. Some people think they suck, right? It means extra flood battery. But you have to hand it to it. I got this car in 2020 in the pandemic, and it just went bad now. So it's a 2019 model. It sat for a year on the, in the dealership in Tampa, just waiting for someone to buy it. And I fell in love with it and bought it during the pandemic. So then, fast forward to the future, that battery says made in Germany in it. I have to think it's the original battery, because I can't find Varta anywhere. It says Varta. That's from Germany, man. So it's the original stock battery. It lasted from 2019 in the harsh summers of Florida, where we get like 115 inside the engine probably in there, or more than that, in the summer with the heat index and all that. And here it lasted that long from Germany. I have to say, that was a hell of a battery. The Interstate one should be good, but I always thought batteries last 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? I always get mine redone like every 2 or 3 years. But here's the reason why you got to learn about this is when you get a new battery, nowadays, you can't just put it in and drive it away and then use your OBD11 to cancel out the codes and all that, which you normally did, like my GTI. So now, you have to get your battery registered. So maybe my GTI had to do it too, I'm not sure. Or maybe the GTI would let you not do it, and that's why I went through the batteries every so often. So maybe this battery will last like 5 years. Because I think if you don't register the new battery, the computer thinks it's the same battery, and it sends charging appropriate to the age of the battery. So it goes, okay, this battery is old, I'm going to send more charging. You might not need more charging. Or it'll be confused. It says, I'm getting really good charge, but I'm going to send more charging because it's this old battery still. So you've got to update your computer with the new battery. All right? And you have to go to the dealership. Now, in my case, I go to Fabian because Fabian is like the dealership. He's Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes, Porsche. He's got all the stuff they have and more, and they'll charge you half of that's what it would cost with the dealership, or maybe slightly more than half. I don't know, but it's still better than going to the dealership. But here's what I did on my own. I'm kind of proud of myself. I put the battery in. I know to remove the negative one first, because I learned that when I was in high school about electricity. So electricity flows from the minus sign, which is the negative side, to the positive side, which is the plus side. So you will never touch positive, because that means that's a live action right there. If you interfere with that, all the power of the battery in the car and everything's coming right through your hand. So what you do is you take off the negative post first. Once you disconnect the negative post, there ain't no flow of electricity. And that's why you just simply take off the positive. It's fine. And you do the opposite when you put the new battery in. You put the positive side on first, because there's no connection. Remember, it flows from the negative side like water to the plus side. So it ain't flowing if you put the negative side on. You know, it's like, imagine it like a tube, and you take the other side off. It's like closing off the valve, and you take the negative off, so it closes off the water from flowing through the tube. And then you can just open the other valve with your hand, which is taking off the positive side, without getting in trouble. But if you try to put the positive one when the negative is connected, you're putting your hand with all that flowing water. Think of it as the water pipe. You could never close a valve if there was 1,000 pounds of water pressure flowing through there. You couldn't. It would just blow you away, because the water pressure would just blow you off. So that's why you never do that. So if you don't know that about that, I learned that in electronic school when I did electronic drafting. I did mechanical drafting. I was going to be an architect, probably. That's what I was going to be. Look what happened here. Then what happened? Anyways, I love what I do anyway, but I was like leaning toward drafting. I like the whole idea of drawing, and the shame of it is the computer came of age when I became of age, and the computer took over everything. Yeah, started to do the AutoCAD and all that. Then you have these brain egghead people that learned how to do AutoCAD. They didn't have to draw anything. You just press the button, and it goes, it draws everything by itself. It's like, that was the end of my drafting career. I didn't want to learn that crap. I didn't even like it. I don't want to press a button and go. I like drawing and scaling and measuring and all that cool stuff. Then you have a product like what you drew, and you feel proud of it. Anyway, so yeah, just so you know. And same thing with charging. If you got the battery tender, you put the battery tender, you put the positive one on first. Because then when you connect the battery tender with the negative one, you're not going to get shocked. It's already connected. So, and it's just the opposite too. You would take off the negative one first, then the positive one. So it's the same when you remove a battery. If the battery's connected to your car, you remove the negative one first, because you're stopping the flow of electricity. Then the positive one has nothing. Pull the positive one off, you're safe. When you put the new battery in, it fits perfectly, by the way. I bought the, if you don't know, the perfect size is exactly like the stock size I took out. It's called the H5. The number is 47. So if you see 47 is the size of your battery, and the H5 probably is the measurements as well. It has more cold cranking amps and more available amps than the stock one. So it's called Interstate. That's the green company. I mean, I know they use them in race cars and everything else. I believe in Interstate. They might be a little more expensive, but I believe in it. I don't trust AutoZone. I don't trust their batteries. I know they made a deal with the DieHard company. That used to be Sears and Roebuck. It used to be the Sears department store. That's where Sears invented DieHard. And they used to be a good name, but I just don't trust them. I don't. And that's why if you ever go on AutoZone, every battery you see will be DieHard, DieHard, DieHard. And I think you have to buy the real expensive one to get the good one. But here's the thing. Go with Interstate. Try it out. If you don't like it, complain to me. I think Interstate makes a better battery, and they look cool. They're usually like that green, and I think they're just got a tough name. You know, you think of NASCAR, you think of racing, you think of strong trucks use them. You know, Interstate's a good name. So, mine's called the MTX, which is Megatron X. It was $274. It's the H547 is the size of it. And you have this little like apron around the battery in the new Golf R that I have. It's not plastic anymore. It's really all exposed. In the old days, I had a lid on my GTI. It was like a plastic one. Now it's just got like a little, it's like it wears a dress. It wears a little foam thing around it. It's like fabric-y. And you don't even have to even take that off. All you got to do is take your terminals off, like I said. Take off take off the negative one first, then the positive, and then you're just going to like slide those things out of there. And you're going to slide the battery out from underneath it. You can leave the damn apron thing. Then you have the apron will come off of it anyway. Then you take the old battery and you dispose of it properly. I gave it to Fabian. He's going to send it away. You get the new battery. Oh, by the way, before you can take the battery off, there's like a little anchor in there that like wedges into a little slot. But you'll see what's really cool about the Golf R. There's 3 different sizes of battery. So if you got stuck with a bigger battery, there's 3 places you can screw in that little anchor. So you could get a giant Mofungo battery. You probably can get like a really good battery. And, you know, like for a race team or something, it would probably just fit right in there. You can get a battery like almost twice the size of mine. It'll fit right in there. It's got the little metal thing will screw down and lock in a little channel. Then it screws into a little bigger one. Then there's a one way out you can screw into. So you could have like 3 different size batteries. And then even shorter ones. There was littler ones in case you would need littler ones. But I guess they're for different applications too. It could be like other cars use bigger batteries. You know, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better in a battery anyway. Really doesn't. Some of these little ones pack a punch now. My little motorcycle has the tiniest little battery there is, and it's really good. I get the best one. Get the gel one you're supposed to have with it, made in Japan. So you take off that bracket. It has 1 bolt in it. Easy to remove. It just pops right off. Then you reach in, slide it out, because the battery actually slides into a channel. That's why it's shaped like that at the bottom. It's got like little wings that come out. That slides into a groove that fits and holds it in place. And then that metal thing anchors it down even more. So you take that anchor thing off, you slide the battery out, pull it right out, the apron comes off, you put it away, get rid of it. You save that little part that covers up your positive pole. There's a little plastic like flap that goes on top of there. You just pop it right off and it fits in little holes. The reason you keep that, oh God, we got an accident up here. Wow, I don't know what this is, but it looks bad. It looks bad. I don't know if you can see it. Wow. Yeah, something, oh, it's going over. Cop came. State trooper, no less. That looks bad, man. Only because that guy is crushed. How did he get like that? Oh, man, there's people in the woods over there. Don't look. It's not for the squeeze machine. Maybe there was a guy on a motorcycle and they tried to avoid him. Sometimes stuff like that happens. You get like a big truck will be there and he feels bad because he doesn't want to kill somebody in a motorcycle. So he'll swerve to avoid him, which is a big mistake in a way. If you're in the right, by the way, I hate to say this, but right, you don't swerve. You try to brake, and I know it's harsh to say, but you don't endanger your life. Well, in my case, I drive a bus. You can't endanger the life of 54 people for one guy that doesn't know how to drive. You try to avoid them without flipping the bus, but what you want to do is try to brake and then just try to hit them squarely. Motorcycle, it's kind of sad. I don't know if that's what the case is, but sometimes when you see a truck flipped over like that, I mean, that's pretty dramatic, really. It is pretty dramatic. Pretty dramatic, people. Pray for his soul. God bless him and save him. Hope he's okay, Lord. Hope nobody died. Lifelong injuries. Maybe okay, but even that, maybe. I always pray for people. Anytime you see an accident, say, Lord, help them. Ease their pain. Help them survive. Hope no one died. In the name of Christ Jesus. Amen. And then that's all you need to say. And you can just pray for the Lord to do his thing. And ultimately, all future events are certain anyway, so that's called divine predestination, which I won't bore you with. But we act freely, we think, but we never can act contrary to God's predetermined plan. That's the mystery of providence, my friends. That's why it's called of him, through him, and to him are all things. That means of God, to God, and through God is everything that happens. There's nothing that happens that doesn't happen without God. And sometimes we have a hard time figuring that out. And sometimes the hardest things we can figure out, that's why it's good to believe in God, because that belief there will take you through life. If you believe in free will and you believe everything's willy-nilly, then your life's in shambles and you have nothing to think about. Or you try to blame man for everything, or you blame God for everything. Either way, you're both wrong, because man, only thing you blame is himself, because only man has is sin. That's all he can lay claim to. He can't lay claim to morals or goodness or truth, because only God has that. And whatever amount you might have, if you have it, it's only because of God. And common grace doesn't save you, only special grace does. Jesus says the rain falls on the just and the unjust. The sun shines upon the just and the unjust. So, that amount of grace doesn't bring you to heaven, because the rains fall on the field of a farmer and also on top of a murderer's head as he's walking to plan crime. He's not going to be saved by that knowledge. And when Jesus was approached by a religious person, he wasn't trying to trick Jesus. In this case, he was just trying to ask him a question, so he called him good master, because he thought Jesus was a good teacher. So he's a good master. And Jesus said, I'll answer your question, but first of all, let me cut you off. There is none good but one. Guess who that is? God. So that's what is proof that there is no goodness in man by nature. Anyway, back to the app. So you save that little plastic flap that goes like that, because you don't want someone arcing your battery when they're working in it, or yourself. You have a metal tool and you're reaching over to tighten up something, or maybe you have something in your hand like your keys and you're reaching to put brake fluid in. If you touch that metal thing and it arcs, you're going to be dead. So you keep that little flap over the positive one. It plugs right in your new battery. You can save it from the old one and just keep it like that. So it like stays like this, kind of halfway up. But then you can lean on it and everything. Nothing's going to ever hurt you. So when you put in a new battery, you're going to get an error code on everything. But here's the thing. When you disattach the battery, what you want to do is, we turn off everything. I don't usually use air, so I'm not used to it. What you want to do is, you want to make sure that you keep the cables disconnected for 15 minutes. That resets your computer. It's supposed to bring it back to factory settings. That's what I read, so I did it. Because you got to reset your computer. That's all that I found online. That's true. So you leave off the battery for 15 minutes, put your new one attached. Remember, this time you put the positive on first, then the negative. And then you have it in there. You slide it in, pop it down, put that little metal flap in it, put the one bolt in, holds it, anchors everything. And then you're good to go. I get my OBD11. You plug it in here, your diagnostic port. You scan the entire vehicle as it connects. It'll give you like 37 error codes, because it's all your diodes and modules are all screwed up, because it doesn't know you have a new battery, and it's confused, because when you lost power, it made everything malfunction. So you reset everything, and it acknowledges, hey, I got a new battery. It's good, but here's the thing. It's not registered yet. Even with all that, unless you're a person that has access to those codes and to go deeper into VAGCOM or whatever they do, like Fabian does, don't do it yourself, because you won't know what you're doing. Just take it into Fabian, take it into FS Tuning, or take it into your dealership. They have to take this code, which is like 16 digits. It goes blah, blah, blah. It's got numbers and letters, and it's got to be registered to this computer in here. So it knows, and it can set parameters for that new battery. Oh, it's new. We can start everything over again. We were used to the old battery getting older and older and older, sending more charge from the alternator. Now we can send less charge from the alternator, and everything's copacetic. I just went to Fabian. He just did it. Everything's fine. Everything's right with the world. And what I also lost, by the way, if it helps you, is your start-stop button won't work like it normally does once you disconnect the battery. You have to press it and hold it. You'll think it's still a battery, but I pressed it and holded it. It went boom. But when I was just trying to, usually just press it once and sit there, go beep, and it goes boom, right? It's back to that, because everything's copacetic. Everything's right with the world. And I got the battery installed myself, but I still needed help from FS Tuning to register the new battery with the computer. Something about the modern days, that's what we have to do. But I'll show you some of the things I was talking to you about. If I can get this open here. I'll just show you the new battery. So you know what I'm saying, it's not a bunch of malarkey. Who probably was an Irishman. So, okay, that's the flap I was telling you about. I think we're zoomed in too much from that accident. So this is the flap. This thing pops right off. Get it from the old battery and save it. And that saves you from arcing battery. But that's the new MTX 47H5 Interstate. And there's my wonderful, lovely cold air intake. Everything is right with the world.